Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. This is our video assignment of MIC462 Eukaryotic Microorganism. The chosen title of our assignment is Aspergillus Niger. But first of all, let me introduce our team members. The first one is Nur Anissa Anati binti Mazlan. Then myself, Nur Umar Husna binti Muhammad Hariri. Nurin Hanani Hanis binti Jalani. Nur Akilah Huda binti Muhammad Hisham. Next, Maisarah binti Abu Bakar. Nur Syarah binti Muhammad Nawi. Maria Maisarah binti Muhammad Hisham. And Nur Alia Fatini binti EUKARYOTIC. Now, the list of content. The first one is introduction. The second part is characteristic, which is morphological, nutrition, habitat, and reproduction. The third one is significance of Aspergillus niger. And the last one is example of commercialized product. Now, we will start with the first part, which is introduction of Aspergillus niger. Let's begin with a simple introduction. What is Aspergillus niger? Aspergillus niger is one of the most common species of fungi from the Aspergillus genus. The name Aspergillus actually comes from a Latin word aspergillum, which means holy water sprinkler, because under a microscope, the shape looks very similar to one. This fungus is often caused black mold, most common seen in fruits and vegetables, such as grapes, cherry tomatoes, and onion. It's found almost everywhere, in soil, water, rooting matter, and even indoors. You will know it's around when you see a black mold spot. Next, anatomy of Aspergillus niger. Morphologically, Aspergillus niger is a filamentous fungus, meaning it has a structure made up of long thin filament called hyphae. These hyphae are septate, meaning they are divided by walls. Its spores and conidia start off white, but as they age, they turn black or dark green-brown. This black pigmentation is due to a specific gene called FWNA, and it's a unique trait that helps differentiate Aspergillus niger from other species in the same genus. Now let's talk about why this fungus is important both in medicine and industry. Medically, Aspergillus niger can cause ear infection like otomycosis and even aspergillosis, especially in people with weakened immune system. However, the good news is that it is extremely valuable in biotechnology. It plays a major role in producing citric acid, which is widely used in food, especially soft drink, candies, and canned goods, because it can survive high acidic condition and has a high production yield. Besides that, it produces enzymes like amylase, protease, glucomylase, which are used in food and beverage industry to break down starch. Now here's the interesting part. Did you know Aspergillus niger is the main industrial producer of citric acid, a sour flavoring commonly found in candies, soft drinks, and canned fruits? Over 70% of the world's citric acid is made by fermenting sugar using this fungus. Why this fungus is chosen? It is because it tolerates highly acidic environment where bacteria can't survive. It also produces high yields economically. It's also non-toxic. Now let's move on the classification of Aspergillus niger. It belongs to kingdom fungi, as it shares common fungal characteristics like having chitin on its cell walls, being heterotrophic, and reproduce both asexually and sexually. Table 1 shows classification level and binomial nomenclature. The first one is kingdom, which is fungi, phylum Ascomycota, class Urothiomycetes, order Eurotiales, family Trichocomaceae, genus Aspergillus, and species Aspergillus niger. Just remember, binomial names are always use genus and species name. The genus is capitalized, but the species is not. To give a clearer understanding, here's a comparison different organisms from all 5 kingdoms along with their specific name. The first kingdom is Monera, example organism bacteria, and binomial nomenclature is Escherichia coli. The second one is Protista, example Protozoa, binomial nomenclature Paramecium caudatum. The third one is fungi, example yeast, and the binomial nomenclature is Candida albicans. The fourth one is Plantae, example algae, and the binomial nomenclature is Cruella vulgaris. And the last one is Animalia, example parasite worm. The binomial nomenclature is Ascaris lumbricioides.
We are going to see the characteristics of Aspergillus niger based on the morphology, nutrition, habitat, and reproduction. Observation under the microscope of this fungus, it appears with transparent septate hyphae which is about 2 to 5 micrometer long. It also have about 400 to 3000 micrometer conidiophores, the upright smooth surface, and with large round vesicles which will develop dark coloration. It ends with globose vesicle covered with 2 layers of spores called medullae and phalanx. Phalanx produce chain of dark brown with rough surface conidia, which spores release for asexual reproduction. The conidial head appear large, resulting in the dark brown color formation of the fungus. For observation on solid media such as potato dextrose agar, the color for Aspergillus niger are initially white but then change to brown or black, which indicates production of conidial spores. The colony shape will be granular or powdery textured with pale yellowish part that produces radical fissures. Its nutrition, Aspergillus niger derives its nutrition from dead organic material. It releases certain enzymes that will hydrolyze complex food molecules such as fat, protein, and starch into a simpler form like sugar and amino acids. These simple molecules will be absorbed and used for energy and growth. Additionally, Aspergillus niger also aids in the development of proteins and other important molecules by using nitrogen sources such as ammonium, nitrogen, urea, and amino acids. Trace quantities of minerals like iron, zinc, copper, and manganese also crucial for Aspergillus niger to carry out life processes. To grow, it prefers a slightly acidic pH conditions and moderate temperatures around 30 to 37 degrees Celsius. Moving to habitat, Aspergillus niger chooses soil as its most natural habitat, but it can be found in various types of places including doors, rotting fruits, and plant debris. It has a great tolerance for temperature which can survive in a wide range, either low or high. Favorable environment conditions enable its asexual mode of reproduction to survive. Moreover, Aspergillus niger are very tolerant to space radiation, for example UV rays, X-ray, and solar flare radiation. Other common place to find Aspergillus niger is in compost, waste, and decaying plant material in natural environments. Moisture-rich outdoors environment also provides ideal conditions for mold development, such as bathroom walls and other moisture-prone pastes. Last aspect to discuss about Aspergillus niger's characteristics are reproduction. Aspergillus niger mainly reproduces asexually, and it's rare for sexual reproduction to happen. Life cycle of this fungus is activated at an optimum temperature which is around 25 to 40 degrees Celsius. Conidia will be dispersed and transmitted by wind to reproduce. After that, it will germinate into vegetative cells which develop into hyphal mycelium that appears as branches that divides into aerial hyphae. These aerial hyphae will produce conidiophores swelling at the top called vesicles. Primary stigmata of phalanx was formed. From stigmata, the conidial spores or secondary stigmata were produced from the conidial heads, which will be arranged in rows formation. It's easier to say that Aspergillus niger tends to spread to air, soil, or even water.
Next is the significance of Aspergillus niger that focuses at three fields, which are industry, environmental, and medical. So first, industry. This fungus produces large-scale or yield of citric acid that is widely used for pharmaceutical drugs or supplements, cosmetic products to preserve pH, and as antioxidants, including for food and beverages, which acts as preservatives or flavor enhancers. Other than that, they also produce enzymes such as amylase, cellulase, pectinase, and protease that has their own specific function in degradation. For example, cellulase to break down plant biomass into a fermentable sugar to produce biofuels. Secondly is environmental. Aspergillus niger is the main natural decomposer where in bioremediation it was able to degrade pollutants and heavy metals like lead from contaminated material due to its ability to withstand harsh conditions such as at low pH by producing citric acid, which makes it a reliable organism to clean contaminated soil and even water. And lastly is medical. This fungus is considered as non-toxic and also non-pathogenic. However, it mainly targets and becomes an opportunistic invader to those who are immunocompromised or with chronic disease such as chronic pulmonary aspergillosis (CPA). It produces mycotoxins that cause acute poisoning or even cancers. The spore from Aspergillus niger can germinate by airborne and cause aspergillosis, that is a hard-to-treat infection, and usually affects horticulturists. Another medical condition caused by this fungus is ear mycosis, as it produces mycelial growth and localized irritation of cerumen or the earwax.
So I will continue next part, which is commercialized products and process from Aspergillus niger. So Aspergillus niger is extensively utilized in industrial biotechnology for the production of valuable biochemical and enzymes. So one of its most significant contribution is the production of citric acid, where it serves as the primary microorganism in large scale fermentation process. So next, citric acid is widely used in the food industry as a preservative and flavor enhancer, and in the pharmaceutical industry as a stabilizing agent. So the fermentation process typically involves feeding Aspergillus niger with a sugar-rich substrate under aerobic and slightly acidic condition. So in addition, next to citric acid, Aspergillus niger is also a major source of industrial enzymes such as amylase, pectinase, and protease. These enzymes have application in brewing, baking, fruit juice clarification, and detergent manufacturing. For example, pectinase is commonly used in the fruit juice industry to enhance clarity and yield. So, lastly, Aspergillus niger has potential application in environmental biotechnology, which it can degrade industrial waste and absorb heavy metal, making it a candidate for bioremediation. So this diverse application highlight its importance in sustainable industrial practice. So that's all from us. Thank you.